Boom, baby. Bada bing, we are ready for Maté talk. This is take 2. Haha. And that's because I had the curtain open, sun was coming through, and yeah, now it's decided not to come through. Anyway, let me begin. Let me start again. Because now I don't like the look of it. It looks too orange. Son of a... Welcome. Maté talk time. It is good to be before you all. Hoping everybody is well. Action-packed Maté talk. Do you see that thumbnail? Hopefully that piqued your interest. Let me go into a bit more detail about that. I've got a cold, so I'm going to give you a heads up. There may be a few stops because I start coughing uncontrollably. It's weird, but it is what it is. And before I begin, let me give you the announcement. So at the end of this video, once we finish our conversation on all things Alessandro Gualtieri, I will be talking about the KM Fragrance Tour for next year. There will be 2 tours. This is the South of France tour, which will happen in September. I'm going to give you some more breakdown. There's a lot of great things happening already in that. There will be an Excellence tour, and I'll tell you more about that. Then we're going to talk about UNIMATIC. Yes, we are going to talk about UNIMATIC. I love the Freudian slip. So, anyway, I'll talk about UNIMATIC. UNIMATIC watches, what does this mean? And OT, the orders will be coming out for Aussies this week. US, we will give you an update. And the last thing is I will be spinning the wheel. There are 2 great prizes to be won. Boom, I'll tell you what that means. This is for members of the channel. Good luck. All right, so one thing that, so for those who might be new to this conversation, what is Maté talk? Firstly, this is my mate. Yerba mate is what goes in here. As an Argentinian, this is something that I did as a kid. I grew up with this. And one thing about mate is that it's about conversation. It's friends getting together, even, it could even be husband and wife, getting together, sitting down para un matecito. That's I won't say it. And so normally you drink a lot of water with it. So it's about a liter worth of water. So it means that you have a long conversation. That's what, unlike coffee, even here in Melbourne, you have a cafe latte, which would be about a 10-minute sort of experience, 15-minute, we'll say. Whereas mate is an hour-long experience without a problem. So mate is really about getting into the more detailed conversation of your life. Rather than the weather's been nice, it's tell me about how's your romance with such and such, or how's the kids, are they, give me the real meaty stuff. So this is what I want Maté talk to be, get into the meaty stuff. And for those who are familiar, it's one continuous roll, there's no cuts, there is a little bit of editing, but technically you just want to see the person, me, talking about the particular subjects. And the idea also is so that you get to see who the real person is too. So there's no, there's no window dressing around it to sort of hide things. So you get to see the real person behind NFC. Now, one of the things I do love is when I get asked detailed questions. Years ago, when the Ghost Perfumer book came out, all about Creed, I had a number of people reach out. What are your thoughts on this, Marcelo? Because I know you do like Creed, and so I did a similar Maté talk talking about that. Now, I had this question raised by a gentleman called Dimitri. He speak to each other quite regularly on DM in Instagram. The sun, it's coming out. Anyway, it's been a conversation Hannah and I have been having because I'd normally like to leave the curtain open, but anyway. So you're going to see a little bit of overexposure and underexposure. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, so Dimitri wrote me this comment, and I really, really, really loved it. And it's very detailed, as you can see. This is so I'm going to flip camera so you can still see me, but now you can read this alongside me. I want to read it because I want you to understand the details of what he's saying. And he wrote, Marcelo, I like your honest view on Alessandro Gualtieri. Personally, I see his crazy artist persona as a brilliant marketing constructions. Not as real creative mastery. Let me just say, before we go any further, Dimitri holds back no punches. He's coming in with his whole shoulder and everything. When I look at his work before Nasomatto Parisi, I don't see any memorable contribution in terms of beauty, refinement, or balance. Many of his releases feel like technical accidents that were wrapped in a narrative and sold as art. The brutality. My good friend Kevin, who's now walked in. Hello, my homie.
you going? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
My bad. Hello, everyone from the interwebs. It's your friend Kevin.
There you heard his voice. You're okay for me to keep filming, yeah?
Please, yeah.
All right, okay. All right, so he goes on to say, my reasoning, in short, the persona came first. The story is the real product, you know, the story. If true genius was there, we would have seen it clearly in the pre-nasomatto work. Okay, shock is easier than elegance. Refined simplicity is actually the highest discipline. And here is the uncomfortable part for me. He didn't just create perfumes, he created a character that allows him to sell mediocrity as genius. I don't look forward to Dimitri writing things about me in a thread somewhere. I'm like, it's a classic conceptual art trick where there is no technical coherence. You sell the author instead of the work. Honestly, if the same formula were launched by a random Polish niche startup without the mad genius myth attached, probably nobody would care. Am I reading this correctly, or do you really see genius, olfactive merit here that I'm missing? Okay. I expect a diplomatic answer, of course. That's how I operate. From you, consistent with, yep. But I am really asking because I want clarity. Sorry, I don't have the, these are my glasses for the distance. I can see out this window and I can see, 5,000 meters away. But right in front of me, Bob, I'm cooked. But anyway, you got the gist of it. I wanted to read that to you only because I didn't want to share verbatim what I thought Dimitri was trying to say, so that you can understand clearly his mindset. Because it is a good question, and sometimes these are the questions I even ask myself about certain creators or even certain brands. And the question is it as good as everybody bangs on about it? And therefore, am I missing, and this is another, so he sent me another thing, and he talked about the emperor's new clothes, for those who know the story, that the emperor wasn't wearing any clothes, but everybody felt embarrassed to say that he wasn't wearing clothes because only the true artist could see the refinement of this, this incredible fashion that he was sporting. But the reality, he was wearing no clothes. So the question is it really art, or is it really, have we been sort of lulled in or suckered in by the marketing behind it? Great question, and I really, really want to unbox this. Now, one thing that I do want to do, and this is also part of Maté Talk, put in your thoughts on this. I find that there is no, in my opinion, there's no one short answer to anything in life, There's always multiple things, different ways we can look at this. And this is one of those conversation points that I'd love to hear. Now, I'm going to add my 2 cents to this equation, and this is my response to Dimitri. But because it was such a great question, I wanted this to become a Maté Talk and share it with everybody else. The short answer is that the sun is now out, and I am definitely overexposed. Come on, man. This is my 3rd take because of this. But I'm going to cut because, now the sun's going. Okay. All right, I'm going to keep going. My brain's getting annoyed.
You okay?
Yeah. Boom. You have to come down. So there we go.
Hey.
Could you hear me? Could you hear me?
Take 4.
Could you hear me just like getting frustrated?
What's happening?
We're still well.
The lighting is.
The lighting is
getting brighter.
Yeah, correct. Normally I close the curtain, but it looks better with the curtain open, giving you all the insights.
Annoying us.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna keep going. Maté Talk. This is what Maté Talk's about. All right. The bim boom boom. The short answer is and it's clear from all the content I've created on all things nasomatto and Orto Parisi, I do like Alessandro Gualtieri. I do like him a lot. And I hear all the points that Dimitri, that you've raised here. And some of the things I don't have answers for. For instance, what was he doing beforehand? I don't know. He did start this in 2007. I don't know how old he would have been. We all have to earn our stripes. We're not instantly born with bop and we were creating masterpieces straight away. So yeah, I don't know what his background is, but I do know Duro, which was the first one that he released in 2007 alongside Narcotic V, and I'll talk to you more about those two there. And I have spoken about them extensively anyway. Now, there are a few points that I want to draw on, and that is, number one, we love what we love. And so the key here is, it may resonate to me, but it might not to you, and vice versa. The classic for me is Portrait of a Lady. And I have shared, and normally I keep my mouth very closed when it comes to things that I don't enjoy, and that's just because, what if I change my, that's one of the reasons, what if I change my mind? What if I do begin to enjoy it? And I'll talk to you about Duro in a second. But I thought I want to share this so that you can get perspective, because I get a lot of questions asked from me, why do I never speak about Frederic Malle's Portrait of a Lady? And that is because I don't own it, and it doesn't resonate. Not that I don't like it, it just doesn't resonate with me. Yes, it's a beautiful rose fragrance, and I've tried a few times, because it is one of those fragrances where it is it's a bit of a history marker. Because of Portrait of a Lady, so many things have sort of come out of that. And so I want to own that, but it just does not resonate with me. I've tried to wear it, and I'm like, I wash it off. I don't enjoy it. Now, that's not to say that the fragrance isn't amazing, and it's a showstopper for a lot of people, just not for me. Here's the thing. And the next part to it is, I prefer to speak from the heart as opposed to remembering a lie. And I think that's the important thing, that I never want to fabricate something that I don't really feel, because eventually that's just going to catch up with me. I get to meet a lot of you guys. I mean, Canadian Fragrance Stores is a big, it's all about in the moment. And I don't ever want to say something that I never really believed in the first place. So I go back to, why do I really, really enjoy Dimitri? Why do I really, really enjoy Alessandro Gualtieri's work? And there are three core reasons. Number one is, I do enjoy the smell. It's very visceral for me. It's a gut thing. It's all about feelings. I'll go more into that. The second, I do love the craftsmanship, and I'll explain that. And the third, the very point that you addressed, that you're like, hang on a second, I'm putting up a radar, like a siren on this, which is the marketing. I actually love it, and I'll tell you why. So let me break down the three reasons, but first, un matecito. Maybe this is a good time for you guys, pause the video before I give you into my details, and you write your thoughts, Tell me what your thoughts are on Alessandro, your gut, that gut visceral sort of, what's your thoughts on all things Alessandro? All right, let's begin. Feeling. Feeling is really, really important for me. I'm all about, I think I'm less intellectual when it comes to breaking things down. And I work a lot on my gut. Actually, we had a meeting recently with Kevin, and we're addressing certain things. And I actually said to him, I said, and I need to listen to my gut. My brain is saying X, but here is telling me something else. I'm feeling something different. So for me, feeling is everything. And it's the feelings, it's emotion, and the soul of things that drive me more, that move me in certain directions. So when I smell any of these fragrances, and I've got a collection of them right here, right now. Let me just show you these. When I smell these ones here, the only one that's missing from this lineup is Narcotic V. But if I smell Pardon, Hindu Grass, Duro, or Fantomas and Narcotic V, it's something I cannot control. It's something that just wells up in me. It's something that I feel very deeply, and it elicits a response of, I love you, that kind of emotion from it. So from a pure animalistic scent, guttural sort of thing, I just absolutely adore. I love those particular fragrances. Oh, the sun is killing me. All right, I'm gonna stop because this is gonna drive me insane. Give me 1 second. And back. Okay, no more interruptions. I can see the sun really wanting to bust out now, so we're gonna be safe and move smoothly from here. So the very first thing, as I said, it has to draw my attention from the love that I have for beautiful smells, and this is what I encounter. Now, it's interesting though the first time that I ever discovered nasomatto, and I have told this story before, this is the production, where I had just come into niche perfumery, and I was in a little boutique in Rome, and I asked for a beautiful Italian perfumer. The woman gave me Duro. I remember smelling it and thought that she was trying to poison me. I'm like, what in the world is this? You know, this smells horrible. And I genuinely thought that she couldn't sell it. So I thought, this woman thinks that I'm just going to be, you know, this Aussie, never going to see me again, and is going to sell me something that is just rubbish. It was only years later that I came across this wonderful young lady here, Laura, and she was enamored with all things nasomatto, Alessandro Gualtieri. I even believe that she met him and got to know him as a person, blah, blah. And I said to her, I smelled Duro, I didn't like it. She's like, what? You need to try again. And she essentially lent me her collection, some of her favorites. And Duro was one of those. And I still remember, now this is deeper in, so I now had a chance to, my nose to evolve and to appreciate other notes, in particular more animalic note profiles in fragrance. So when I first had come across it, I had come directly from designers, and designers are they're just beautiful fragrances. They're just, you know, they're gorgeous, you know. On first spray, you're just getting all these wonderful smells, whereas I found that the nasomattos, some of them can take a little bit more effort, and you have to pause and think about it. I'll talk about the craftsmanship in just a second. I remember when I came through it the second time, I'm like, whoa, this is, you know, what was it that I was not enjoying about the actual fragrance? And began to slowly unbox them all. Now, I do think that one thing is consistent from my observation is that, and I have a rating system where I say that, you know, there are new recruits, and essentially that's what I was when I first came into niche perfumery. So you have new recruits all the way down to a supreme leader. And my thoughts are that nasomattos and Orto Parisi technically are a semi-pro moving into a veteran. So if you are a new recruit or just come into as a semi-pro, I don't recommend them. I mean, yes, you could do it because, you know, everyone's talking about them and you'll feel super cool, blah, blah, blah. But I know for me, I don't think I would have enjoyed them as much had I done it, jumped in early, as opposed to when I did jump in. All of a sudden, oud was something that took me quite a while to really understand and enjoy. And one of the notes that he uses here quite regularly is that oud note, and more sort of animalic, stronger notes in perfumery. I'm not going to break down what the fragrances do, blah, 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 but if you are interested in anything when it comes to these fragrances, I have done many, many productions. So as I said at the very beginning, I am the unbiased person when it comes to my conversation on do I think that these fragrances are good? My short answer is yes, 100%. And these are the reasons why. This is how I've unboxed them in more detail. Now, the other question that Dimitri raised is is he skilled, you know, or is he really just technically a buffoon dressed up as a genius? I'm actually going to say he's a genius. I'm going to put him down as that. He's actually very talented at what he does. And we'll talk about the marketing part in just a second. And the reason why I feel that he is very talented is that I have had an opportunity, this is now my 4th year in working with the NFC and the things that I'm doing. I've had a chance to come across many people who are coming into perfumery or new in perfumery. And I have smelt these fragrances and they try to be robust and, you know, really super intense, but they're not pleasurable for me. And I go back to my first thing. I'm all about feeling, and I'm all about the guttural, the visceral emotion. And when I smell some of these other fragrances, I get what they're going for, you know, this, but there's nothing else. It's just like, I almost feel like it's just like a person singing, and you're just getting that super high note. and you just, and it's just that all the way through. And you're like, okay, well, does this do anything else? I find that the fragrances here, the craftsmanship, and then again, I go back to Duro, is the way they move and the way they come in. I mean, for me, Duro, when it opens, actually, I will spray this so I can tell you firsthand. When it opens, it has this boozy, woody touch of florals in there. It's really just, and actually, if anything, it makes you think of like woodlands. It's sunny. There is a sun around here somewhere. I still remember, and then now it's beginning to move again. So I remember when I first experienced it, I don't know, and sorry, when I experienced it for the second time, I'm like, what was it in my first experience that I found so repulsive? So like, this is so like, why are you trying to poison me to this woman? When I actually smell this, it brings nothing but happiness into my soul. It just makes me feel good, makes me happy on its scent profile. The great thing about Duro, it does evolve. It does move into this more woody ambers. There's a slight oud touch that comes in the end. There is this like, it's almost like a muscle, so first, your arm is just like that, and then all of a sudden, as you begin to tense it, you can see the veins pop and everything else. This is what Duro is doing, It comes off first as malleable and soft, and then slowly it begins to and veins pop, and there's a strength there that, like, whoa, that's hard, that's Duro. And that's what this fragrance is doing. That's one of the many of these particular fragrances. And that's what I love, this evolution. The fragrance is never a singular expression, never just goes, this is who I am and this is what I do. There's all these different facets, and then how it plays on others. There are some people who say that, men say that they can wear narcotic V. There is no way that I could ever wear narcotic V. For me, this is the most divine, ultimate fragrance that a woman could wear. I think this is feminine glory and beauty. That's how I see it. So if you're a guy and you're wearing narcotic V, good for you. I tip my hat. For me, this is a fragrance that, and I'm not even joking. So you think that this is just a cute story. So I had gone to church early. Sandra had walked in. She sat down next to me. She was wearing narcotic V. This is not a fragrance I think anybody should wear to church. And the moment I smelt it, I'm like, impure thoughts in the middle of this, And I looked at her and I said to her, I said, you shouldn't wear that fragrance to church. That's not a fragrance you should wear to church. So here, these are guttural, these are visceral, emotions that rise up involuntarily, purely from the scent profile of these fragrances. So I think, in my opinion, the skill that it takes to create something like that it has all this evolution and movement, and the way that it can perform and create all these molecules. At the end of the day, it's all chemistry. All these different molecules are doing these different things and coming in, coming out. I don't know. For me, that's genius. That's just pure genius right there. And that's how I'm seeing it. I'll go one more. I've had a chance to be with a number of perfumers in their atelier, and I smelt raw ingredients. And I've smelt, okay, let's take galbanum, for instance. And you have this mental picture of what galbanum is, such as that it's, hay-like, and it has this sort of green effect, and it's kind of grassy. Galbanum is very vegetal, very deep and murky, and super intense. This coming Sunday, you can see me, actually, myself and Kevin, we had a chance to go to Grasse. And I'll tell you more, that's all linked in with the KM Fragrance Tour that's happening in September. But the Sunday, the video that's coming out, we actually got to experience these raw ingredients. And yeah, galbanum, it just threw me. It just completely threw me. Like, I did not know. So how does a perfumer know? This is the key. And so I go back. There is genius here. There is some genius to know how to use this stuff in such a way that it creates magic in the fragrance rather than just being brutal, essentially. All right. Does that answer your question, Dimitri, so far? All right, here's the other thing, too. The other thing I love, and I tip my hat, he was probably early on, I think, one of the first ones to actually get into this. As perfume nerds, we started to get involved in perfumery, and we wanted to understand. We want to start breaking it down. You know, what's this note and what's that note? And am I smelling this or I'm smelling that? You know, and we start to, and then all of a sudden we look at notes. Oh, top notes of this. And if you look at my early episodes that I created, I would really go into it. I'd like, top note is this, and mid note, hot notes of that, and base notes of the other. And I love that very early on, Alessandro basically said, I'm not going to tell you what the notes are, because what do you care? what is that going to do? And since when was this a science experiment, you know? Perfumery is about emotion, and perfumery is about expressing who we are, how we feel, what we want to say to the world, and also say to ourselves. So, you know, why are we making this into a science project? And I like that. I tip my hat off, because what it did, it forced me to, because many times I look at a fragrance and I want to instantly look at a perfume, and then want to start looking at notes. I think I've shared before that when I'm first testing, I got this cough, give me a second. I've been fighting a cold for the last week and a half, and it just will not leave me alone. Anyway, I've mentioned before, when I'm testing new fragrances, I never look at the notes. And sometimes I get it completely wrong. I'm like, oh, I'm smelling kind of, you know, a clove-like experience, and there's nothing. There's no cloves and nothing of that nature. But it's really about feeling what is this fragrance doing. There's a great movie called The Menu, for those who've seen it, the character Nicholas Hoult. I really love this nerdy character because I can almost see myself in this person, you know, who he admires this particular chef, this artist, but to the point where it becomes tedious, you know. This character, and this is a spoiler if you haven't seen the movie. It's a great film. Go watch it anyway, regardless if I'm going to spoil it for you. So the character Nicholas Hoult, he thinks he's an expert by breaking these things down, and how, you know, and then when he gets put into the kitchen, he doesn't know what he's doing. So the essence is, forget all that stuff. It's not a science experiment. Spray it, smell it. How does it make you feel? Does it make you happy? Does it not make you happy? That's where, and this is what Alessandro is forcing you to do. What is this thing saying to you? And just go on that. You know, if it works, great. If it doesn't, cool. You know, find something else. Boom, last one. The marketing. And this is where personally, Dimitri, when I read your thing, this is the main thing that I feel is coming from here. And I also believe that this is the main thing that a lot of people have, or this sort of the hang up, is the marketing. Now, let me tell you, let me break everybody's bubble here in case you haven't. Everybody's selling. Everybody's selling something. Everybody is promoting something. Everybody is marketing. Even your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, boyfriend, they're all marketing something. Everybody, it's what we do. It's our nature, you know. Marketing is all around us. It's you know, it's just all around us. I became aware of this, and so I'm hypersensitive to marketing, but I love it. So I lean into it. I really enjoy it, and I'm always aware of what's happening. So I'm going to give you two examples. One, I became hyper aware of it at the age of 15. Mrs. Campbell. Now, I must have had a crush on Mrs. Campbell, I think, because as a 15-year-old, because I can remember Mrs. Campbell. I can see her face. I mean, in my memory, she's not particularly an attractive woman, but I think she took a lot of attention, or she gave me a lot of attention, and also her helped nurture nerdy Marcelo years and years ago as a 15-year-old. Now, one thing that I loved, and I still remember this, I can even picture the classroom. She broke down a commercial, and I tell you, it was like, you know, the scene in The Matrix where he gets unplugged and he actually sees the real world for what it really is. Where she talked about a very, at the time, very popular biscuit commercial. And she basically sort of broke down the structure of it, which is children are hungry. What did I say here? Oh yeah, children are hungry, mum buys biscuits, children are happy, mum gets hugs. And so she said, by buying these biscuits, you as a mother or as a parent will be loved by your family. And when she broke it down like that, I'm like, that's right. That's you know, it's more than just selling a biscuit. It was actually selling a message, and that is, if you want your family to love you, then buy this particular product, and your family will love you. when the camera lingers, so I love movies, and I'm always, again, hyper attentive to things that linger in a shot. If a director is holding a shot on something, I'm like, I'm such a nerd too, I call it out. I'm like, okay, remember that, everybody. And here's a classic. So I was watching this with my grandbabies, and so this is my neighbor Totoro. Actually, I gotta show you this. Okay, cool. He's my lucky cat, but he's the cat train. Yeah, he's cool. Anyway, actually, it was my granddaughter who's like, oh, that's like your office boy. So the moment when May comes out and the camera lingers on her shoe, and I said to the kids, the shoe. It was only later on you find out that May goes missing. Sorry, spoiler alert. May goes missing. They find the shoe, and they think that she has drowned, essentially, in that lake. And then we see the shoe again. So when the director, or when things are being pointed, look at this, then they're trying to tell you something. There's something in the narrative. So the narrative here with Alessandro is, I am a wild and crazy guy, and I'm sex obsessed. That's, if there could be a caption on him, that's his caption. I'm a wild and crazy guy. So it's marketing. Of course it's marketing. He's trying to tell you that what I do, nobody can do this. And look, the truth is, some of the stuff you're like, yeah, I mean, people have, done similar things, but he wants to be known as the guy who creates wild and crazy things. So this is definitely part of the marketing. And if you look at things like even the names of certain things, like Seminales, Orto Parisi, I always love doing this little party trick. What do you think Seminales means? I say to people, and then it's actually semen, ha ha ha. But that's really good marketing. I mean, even the lid, with that sort of, whitish sort of coloring on there, which makes you think of stuff. Then there's the stercus, which means, poo in Latin, all this sort of stuff. It's all marketing. It's all marketing. I mean, the other one that when I first, and this is Laura, she goes, you know what duro is about? And I'm like, I don't know. Wood means, or strong, it means, she's like, yeah, wood, think about that. And I'm like, okay, right. And then she showed me a visual, and it was basically, like the jeans, and there's a bottle of duro in the pants to represent somebody's manhood. So yeah, it's all part of this. I'm a wild and crazy guy, which naturally draws free attention. Sadonaso with the phallic lid on. I mean, that's all free attention. That's all. You do something a little bit crazy, and you're going to get eyes put on you. And in a world that is full of noise, this is a great marketing spin on his behalf to put himself forward. There's this movie here that was created called The Nose. It's a great, Dimitri, don't watch this because you're not going to enjoy it. But anyone else, watch it. And what I mean by that is you can see Alessandro is not an actor, and you can see that he is not an actor because he's performing in each of these scenes. There's nothing, it does seem like he's aware that the camera is on him and he is giving that performance, just like live TV, reality TV. I mean, come on, there's no reality there. Anyway, so you can see that there's a performance, but there is this particular character here, and this man, he's real. You can feel he was real. You can see his moment in the actual film is real. This is Arturetto Landi, boom, and I had a chance to meet this great man right here. I talked about him a couple of Maté talks ago. I was in Cannes. I was at a party. And let me go one more. There was a lot of cool perfumers there. I'm not going to say who they were, but when I saw Arturetto, this is the guy I went straight to, because this is the real deal here. Long story. I mentioned to him, like, Arturetto, I think you're awesome. He's like, do you know who I am? Do you really know? Even to the point I said, you were in the movie The Nose, and he's like, oh, I told him to cut me out of those shots. And anyway, I said to him, what's Gualtieri like? And he knew what I was saying. And he just shrugged his shoulder, and he said, He's just a man. He's just a man who knows how to put on a good show. So the bottom line is, yes, Dimitri, you're absolutely 100% correct. The marketing behind or this construct is part of the persona that he is building about who he is. But for me, as I mentioned before, that's the number 3 in the equation of 1, how does it make me feel? What's the fragrance about? And 2, are these fragrances, knowing that I've, have a broad collection, are these fragrances still resonating with me? And my short answer is yes. Now, what I would recommend you do is, if you are interested in maybe beginning to explore who is Alessandro and where would you jump in, I do feel that there is a sequence on how you should go in. And I created this particular episode where I did break down, if you're new, this is where I would recommend you go. And for me, I just spray it. Use it, wear it, and see where it takes you. If you don't like it, cool. And as Alessandro says, there's a million other fragrances from a million other brands. Go there instead. But if you do like it, then begin to explore the rest. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. That's my whole take on it. As I said, my vote is with the work that he does. I do like, and I also like the way he takes his time in creating some of these fragrances. It is a bit funny, the sensationalism that's surrounding it, but for me, I acknowledge it. I get what he's doing. He's trying to break through the noise that's happening and create a bit of a buzz in what he's doing. Boom. All right, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna go into announcements. But I do look forward to your comments. If you liked this sort of conversation, I'd love for you guys to subscribe and continue to support the channel. I'm going to talk about some more perfumes and some other concepts and ideas. So don't go. Stay with me. Plus, I'm spinning the wheel for those members. Be back in a second. I'm back. All right, that's the wrap up. But let me just tell you a little bit about Duro, what it's doing now. Because as I was moving around, I'm like, man, I smell good. And what I find that when Duro moves deeper in, I get a slight leathery effect. I do get a slight animalic, and it could be the oud that's in there. I also get like a very soft wood powderiness to it. Part of the marketing, here's another thing too, is that, and again, this is all part of that, I'm a wild and crazy guy, that Alessandro said that this is what his genitals smell like, according to his lovers. Okay, you know what I mean? So it's just, it's part of this marketing thing, it's the idea is to, a bit of shock value to make you go, what the? But it's really just drawing your attention, moving you in that space. Once you smell it, if you like it, great. If you don't, boom, move on to something else. There's many great fragrances out there. So next year, 2026, we will have 2 tours that will happen. One will be the Exxon's tour. We're going to give you a little bit more detail about that. Will happen in June. But the one that I really want to talk about is the 4-day tour or 3.5-day tour that will be happening in the south of France. Starts on the 20th and we'll start on the 20th and we'll finish on the 24th of September. 4 nights, 3 days of activities. The brands that we're working with is Soradora with Hubigant, Balchaude and Robertet, which is one of the big 4 perfume houses, create raw natural ingredients and the perfumers, etc., etc. Now, Robertet is a big deal. This coming Sunday, showcasing a production that we did alongside Christina from Balchaude and also Robertet. And this is, we're giving you a taste of what to expect for the tour. And that is, we will be in exclusive farms that belong to Robertet in Grasse. We will be amongst the florals that are going to be picked over that time. And I do believe it will be jasmine, and tuberose is also blooming around that stage. We will be going back to Robertet. Now, this is a high security location. And if you watch that video, you'll see that we really break down what the experience is going to be. So if you want to know more about all things the South of France tour that'll happen next year, you can jump on our website. This coming Sunday, we'll go live with the new updates, pricing, all the other pieces there. So if you can join us, that would be amazing. You can actually already begin to book or do a deposit, so the first payment is a deposit, there is limited seats. So just know that once we've hit our quota, we're done, we're closing that off, and we will then, we roll forward in the delivery of this incredible event that's going to happen next year in September. If you have any questions for me in regards to the tour, please let me know. I'm more than happy to answer that. But as I said, this Sunday, you're going to get much more of an in-depth view of what all that is about, and you can ask me questions after that. The great news is that OT, Olfactive Traveler, the pre-sales that we obtained, the orders will begin to go out this week. So Aussies, you're first in line. We're getting all the Aussie orders out this week. So you cannot believe how excited I am to finally see these children, my children, or our children, because Kevin and I, we fathered them both, which sounds weird, but anyway, going out into the world. I just, every person I bump into, I'm like, do you want to smell this? Do you want, I'm just super proud. Or what are you wearing? I'm like, well, let me tell you what I'm wearing. So yeah, I'm super excited that finally this is going out into the world. Now, US, we haven't forgotten. This has been I keep calling it a Rubik's Cube puzzle because it's been many different facets to as we're moving through. The other sort of visual is that there are multiple bridges that we had to cross to get to our destination. The good news is that we are moving forward, and I don't want to get ahead of myself because at any stage we could be stopped. But so far, everything is moving in the right direction. I do hope that by next week, every week I say next week, but I do hope by next week we have a much more firm answer. The good news is we are moving forward so I'm hoping that this continues to be the case. And next week I can finally say this is what's happening in the US. The rest of the world, as I mentioned, Aussies going out first. The rest of the world is following shortly after. So the rest of the world will happen probably as of mid next week onwards. But again, I will notify everybody. We will notify everyone as it goes out into the world. One thing that I want you to look out for as orders start to land, and this is my personal card, so this is 11 of 10, is the signed Luca Maffei cards. So we have Willy Wonka style planted these different cards signed by Luca Maffei. They're all different. They're numbered in a different way, but there's 10 of these cards that are actually in circulation. Don't know where, but if you happen to get one of those, so in this recent batch that's about to go out, if you happen to get one of those, I would love you to post it on social media. If you have a social media account on Instagram, please. I want the moment these babies start to sort of pop up or begin to arrive in circulation or begin to appear in circulation. I'd love you guys to post it on your Insta. I'd love to see these cards out in the wild, and anyway, it's pretty exciting. I'm pretty excited. I'm glad that Luca was a good sport in being able to do that with us. Any questions regarding Olfactive Traveler? I've had a few questions like, have you guys created a fragrance? Yes, we have. They're behind me here. These are the productions that you would want to watch if you want to know more about the motivation behind them. It is connected to KM Fragrance Tours. And if you were a detective, you would think to yourself, South of France next year, that means something. When it comes to Olfactive Traveler. I won't tell you too much more. But yeah, so there's those things brewing in the background. Now, one thing I mentioned earlier that we will be doing an Essence tour. The one thing that I want to talk about, and there's a bit of a link and a bit of a connection to all this. So on this year's Essence tour, I was able to be introduced by my good friend and consigliere, this man here. This is Fred from the US. Fred he loves watches. And for those who may have realized, I too love watches. I have not a crazy watch collection. And just so you know, I don't buy fakes. So I just don't like, and again, it goes back to my earlier things about feeling, about, because I want things that are real, So I don't buy clones, I don't buy dupes, give you a heads up on that. I don't buy clones, none of that sort of stuff. So it's either real or it's nothing. And sometimes I'm okay with nothing, in meaning that if I have to, like, I wanted to buy a Panerai this year, it's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna have the money for it. But I was able to come across this beautiful brand called UNIMATIC. And it was Fred who introduced me to this brand. The thing that I love, okay, so these are the things that I love which translate across everything, and that is I like it to be something that is artisanal. So I want something to know that someone was creating this. I want it to be ideally I like it to have a creator behind it, meaning that it's not just a big machinery that's just producing this sort of thing. I do like collecting, so if in some way there are numbered pieces, so there's only, I don't know, 200 of these, then I'm all in on that sort of thing too. And Fred introduced me, he says, look, there's a great watch brand, oh, that's the other, and I like it to be location-based, so something that, you have to go to a place to obtain. And Fred said to me, being that you love watches, surely you've heard of UNIMATIC. Never heard of UNIMATIC. He says, well, they're a Milan-based house. They've got a retail outlet in Milan, and would you like to meet me there because I want to check him out because he's bought some watches before, really loves them, etc., etc. I'm like, yeah, I'm all in. So we went to UNIMATIC, and the two of us, along with Brendan. This was during the Exxon's tour that we did in February of this year, and I bought myself this particular watch. I fell in love with it instantly. It's called Modello Uno. It is a dive watch. It has 300 meters, but I don't buy things for its technicality, all right? So when it comes to movement and things like that, that wasn't what I was drawn to. I loved that it was a super unique piece in that it's stylish, but what I thought was fairly affordable, all right? Anyway, the story goes that we were having a meeting with Luca Maffei. Here's Luca signing these cards, and have a look at his watch. I mean, when I met him, we were together with Kevin, I saw it straight away and I'm like, oh, he's got a UNIMATIC, that's pretty cool. Anyway, we're having a meeting and all of a sudden, in mid-meeting, Luca goes, is that a UNIMATIC? And he literally grabbed my wrist, true story, Kevin is my witness, and he pulled it across and he's like, how do you know about UNIMATIC? And I almost felt like, it was like, I was being quizzed, I was like, got a bit nervous, and I'm like, oh, well, I was here in February, and Fred introduced me, and he goes, because that's my friend's watch brand. His name is Giovanni, and he's one of my best friends, and I'm just like, he was just like bewildered that I knew UNIMATIC because it is a Milan-based brand, and it's very much centered around that. Anyway, he took a photo of it, sent it to his friend. And of course, me being me, I said to him, if he's your friend, I'd like him to be my friend too. And I connected with Giovanni. We were sort of WhatsApping. And during the tour, because we were about to start the Italy 9-day tour, I said to him, what are the chances, we had a small day off, or an afternoon off on one of the days, what are the chances that I could come and see you in your headquarters and see some pieces and possibly buy a piece off you, another watch off you? He said, yeah, of course. And then I asked him the question, if I bring some friends who are also interested in watches, would that be okay with you? Anyway, he's like, the more the merrier, Italian. Everybody's welcome. So this is us in the headquarters, and have a look at this wall. These are all, so they're about to celebrate 10 years of being present or being in operation. This is his wall, and one thing, as I said, the one thing that I love is, so Modello Uno is a classic piece that is consistent in the range, but he creates these different models with limited runs, 100, 120, 300, and when they're gone, they're gone. He doesn't do the, sort of gets under my skin when brands go, limited edition, bop, they come out and then they realize it was a good seller and give it a year or two and they go, and we've brought it out again. It's like, well, I thought it was limited edition. So in this case here, he says, when they're gone, they're gone. And we purposely don't, even though they may have sold out really quickly, we don't reboot. Long story short, to tell you that something's coming up down the line. Giovanni and I really clicked and became good friends. And so we're planning something for the Milan Excellence part of the tour, and also planning something leading into in the coming weeks. So I will share more. If you're into watches, it's a great way to begin. If you want to come into a watch that is, I mean, would be nice to own a Panerai, but you need a bit more dollars in your bank account. Whereas the UNIMATIC, you can get yourself the Modelo Uno, which is a great watch to begin your journey with. But there's also then the classic collector's items that you can also get involved in. Fred, I know I can already feel a message coming through. I think you might be interested in knowing what's cooking in the background with this sort of thing. Now, the last thing, if you are a member of the channel, this happens. So members of the channel, you have a chance to be part of the wheel. I will spin. Now I'm going to spin twice, and as I mentioned last time around, I talked quite extensively on the Boyce 1920 Art 1920, created by Arturetto Landi, and it's just divine. So here's an 18 mil. First person to win, you have the choice of wanting to get this. It is an oud fruit oud based fragrance, so if you like that kind of profile, then this would be amazing for you. The second one that I have that will also be part of that giveaway is this Astrophil and Stella fragrance by Margot, and it's Monsantal. Gorgeous sandalwood and caramel vanilla-esque sort of scent profile to it. Absolutely magic. And now we spin. So all you got to do to become a member is jump on, hit the join button. Hang on. Here we go. Good luck. Oversprayers Anonymous. Anonymous. Well, you're gonna have to reveal who you are, because you have just won, and I would love for you to reach out to me. Let me know which one of these two you would like. As part of that, you tell me some other things that you enjoy. I'll bundle up some other samples for you to test out, new things to consider. I don't believe I have any of the nasomattos. I don't. And I don't like decanting, so these are legitimate samples from the brands. So reach out to me, DM me, and let me organize something for you. It's $4 a month, for Aussie dollars a month to become a member. You also get access to the NFC Discord, and we all say thank you for your support. Good luck, last person. Jared, boom. Congrats, Jared. Jared, I think that's the bishop. So congrats to you, my friend, and send me a DM, and I will get, I'll wait. The first person oversprays Anonymous. Your identity will remain anonymous, so I won't reveal who you are. But if you want to reach out and let me know which one of the two you would like, that would be amazing. That's it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. That was a different kind of Maté talk. It was more conversational, a little bit more sort of deep dive and unboxing when it comes to all things Alessandro Gualtieri. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Please put your comments. I will respond to that. And just so you know, last thing. We're all allowed to have our own opinion. So if someone doesn't agree, it's cool, baby. It's no big deal. You know, I think it's healthy to have multiple thoughts on things. We don't have to all comply to one thing, otherwise, you know, we'll all be the same thing, and that's boring. All right. Thanks, everyone. See you guys all on the next Maté Talk.